arithmetic operator used to perform logical mathematical operations. So mathematical operation means you will everyone know that what is the mathematical operation, like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. I think so. I think it doesn't need any kind of coding. So just I'll show. I have already code. I have already have any code. So I'll show just to explain that. So I have see here I have Kotlin operator. So here you can see arithmetic operators like as I said, it is like a mathematical operation like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and then a modulus. So here you can see we can perform as other languages. Kotlin also supports that kind of arithmetic operation. So next one is that relational operator. What is relational operator? Relation operation shows the relations and comparison between two operands. So it shows the comparison between two operands. What are that relation operation means like greater than, smaller than, greater than or equal to, and smaller than or equal to. That all are relational operator. I'll show the example for relation operators. So here you can see relational operator. See example A and B. We have a variable A and then we have variable B. So we are checking A greater than B. So if it's A is greater than B, so it compares these two opponents. So compare relation means it compares the two opponents. That's it. So we will be having like here you can see here like it is greater than, we can change it to smaller than. This is for checking the smaller than. If we have to check this A is smaller than B or not, and then equals greater than or equal to. These are all relational operator. So next one is the assignmental operator. So as name is suggested that it is the assignment. Assignment assigning the values to another variable. Okay, so the assignment of variable takes from left to right and right to left. Okay, so what is the assignment? For example, so here you can see assigning for variable to another variable. So a equal to 20, b equal to 20. So here we are assigning from a plus equal to b. So what is this means is add, we are adding as well as assigning to b. Okay, and then here second one is that subtract. First we are subtracting the a value and then we are assigning to b. Same like we will be having so many assignmental operator. So this means add and assign. uh, this means subtract and assign. So these are all assignmental operator. So next unary operator. Unary operator are used only for single operands. So operands means, so I'll going to show unary operator like this are. So for increment and all we use plus plus, and for decrement we use minus minus. So these are all unary operators. So we will be performing only for single operand. For others, you just see that we will be using the two operands. But for a unary operator, we will be having only one operand. And next one is the logical operator. So what is the meaning of logical operator means? Logical operator are used to check the condition between the operands. So checking the condition between the two operands. So example, if the two condition are some condition we have to give like two operands are has to true. So then only we have to allow show one some messages, or any of one of condition is true, then we will allow that thing, or uh, logical operator. So here you can see logical operator and or. This is what we will check. This is the one opponent operator, and another is the this is the another one operator. So in this case, this this both this both has to be true. When you use and this both operand has to be true, or else it won't enter to our condition. It won't print our condition. So here you can see this is here or. This means or. So in this case, any one of this operand should be true. And then here you can see this is also one kind of thing. This is a flag, true or false. It's kind of a true or false. If it is true, then flag is true, then it is check for false. If it is false, it's check for a true. This is what operator. So operator are same as other language in Kotlin. There is no change for that compared to other. So next, I'm going to next play, that is standard input and output. What is the input and output? Like the you we normally work on like we will get the console, right? When we work on any application, we will be showing the output from device to main memory and main memory to device. So as we are seeing, what is here you can see performing a byte stream input from an input device to main memory and from main memory to output device. Kotlin output. So Kotlin output operation performing using the standard method print and println. Let's so this is informs like from the memory we will be getting the output for the device. So for output we normally use for println. So in Kotlin we have to use a println. In Java it is system.out.print. So I'll show the how example of for that how we will get println. Okay, here you can see. But here we have problem in print actually. So I'm just showing only for println. So here you can see test Kotlin. So I'm just going to run this one. Sorry, I'm getting error. So here you can see it is print the value what I have given. Those this is called output. So from main memory to output device we got the value. Okay. So if you have a user interface, there will be no problem. So we can show it in any text of the user interface. If you don't have any user interface, we have to communicate with the main memory in this way only by using the main memory and then the output. Okay. So next, I'll just tell you what is the difference between the print and then println. Okay. So that means print means what it is, what it does is it will print the value and then cursor it won't move. When it comes to println, it prints the value and it moves to next line. So whenever if you use some other like print or println, it moves to it comes in the next line. So if you print any value with the print keyword, it displays the data, and again if you use that, it will come after that only. But if when you come to println, it will show it in the next line. That is the difference between these two, print and println. And what is the input? So input means from device to main memory. So if you have user input, you normally see that text view we will be having text view. So when we enter data, if you submit, it will go to do some process. So if you doesn't have any user input, like user interface, like text box, you don't have anything. So then we have to do it in a console only. So from here you have to enter the data. It allows you to type the data here and then you have to submit the data. So it goes from output device to main memory. Then calculate the values and then it gives the response. So here you can see that here I am able to type also. In this way we have to enter and then we have to we have to send the value to main memory. Okay, this is called a standard input output, and then we normally use the println actually for getting the values, what it is doing, and then what value it's taking, everything for we normally use the println. Okay, so next is so last finally last section is Kotlin comments. What is the comments? So comments as standard library function. Actually, comments normally are a statement that are used for documentation purpose. Like comments are actually comments in your application. Usually, we can use n number of comments, and then it is ignored by the compiler. So it doesn't execute the comment section. So we normally use these comments for to tell what the function it's doing. See example, I am showing here. remove first and last character. So if some new person comes, no, if you see that this one, so he doesn't know what this function is doing. Okay, so we have to give any comment, so it is readable. So any newer comer also, he can understand that what is this function is giving. So every normally we have to give for every class and then every function also that comment, so it will be easy for to understand. So this function is doing this functionality, so it is easy, so we have to give and then next in comments also we have two types. One is a single line comment and multi-line comment. What is that single line? So single line comment means here, remove, sorry, here remove first and last char of the string. So here I want to comment this one. So if you want to comment only single line, you can use a double slash. See here, you can see. So this informs that this particular method is used for removing the first and last character of the string. So everyone will get to know. So sometime if you want to comment the whole block actually. So here, see here, you want to comment this function. So you can't go every time. You can't go here like this. You can't, right? It is not good actually. So to comment the whole block of code, we have to do dash and star. We have in Android Studio. We have a shortcut for this one. So here in Android Studio, Control Shift dash. Then it will do a block of comments. Okay. So uh, this is what till now we have covered everything. So I'll just tell you what are the present and the future of the Kotlin. So many companies are like using the Kotlin as because it's very easy to learn, easy to maintain, easy to compile. So many companies are using many companies in the big company like Netflix, Pinterest, everyone are using. And then this Kotlin, within a short duration, it got very famous as because Google announced it as an official language for the Android Studio. That's why it's got so much popular in a very short period actually. So and then replacing from Java with the Kotlin, it's easy, and as because it interoperable with the Java, so we can change the application very easily. And then the aim of this Kotlin is to for targeting the programming like other programming languages like iOS and then client side, server side, web application, everything. Okay. So lastly, like we will summarize what and all we have covered in this tutorial. So firstly, like we have covered like what is Kotlin, and then who invented JetBrains team have invented the Kotlin, and on the 2010 actually it is started, and then 2016 first version of Kotlin is started, and then Kotlin name was derived after the name of the Kotlin Iceland. Next one is 2016. Google announced its first class version support to Android application. And Kotlin doesn't. What are the advantages of Kotlin? Like Kotlin doesn't need a semicolon, and then it is supports the both the programming style like OOPS as well as the uh, functional programming style. And also like it is concise, and concise means it will trim the code from 100 lines to 60 lines, as because it remove the boilerplate code. And next one is like all variable declaration like variable and oh, sorry, I forgot to tell that what how to what are the prerequisites for installing the Kotlin, how we can run Kotlin in the command prompt, and how we can run in the IDE. So I have showed the Kotlin and then as well as the Android. So I will share at the end of session, I'll share this to, PPT with you, so that you can go through this one, you can install the, you can play around with Kotlin. And then I have explained what are the variables in a Kotlin inbuilt variable, that is val and var. So difference between that, it's a var is mutable, and then val is immutable. It's kind of like kind of constant. in Java. So, like similar other programming, it is having a inbuilt data types like boolean, character, and then in number, string, array. Okay, so and then after that we have discussed about the operators like arithmetic operator, assignment operator, comparison operator, relation operator, everything. So next we have discussed about the input and output, how to give the input, how to get the output from the Kotlin. And then we have discussed about comment section also, why we have to give the comment, how to give, and then how to give for the one line and then block of section. That thing and all we have covered in this section. And lastly, like Kotlin, you know that Stack Overflow website. You guys know about Stack Overflow? So Stack Overflow is a website actually. It's a
Yes, ma'am.
solution provider website. So so in they have recently done a survey. So 72% of developer are happy with the Kotlin actually. So 72% of developer happy with the Kotlin they are using in their project actually, as because of this feature of the Kotlin. Okay. Um, and lastly, so I am just telling, even though Kotlin is it's popular and then very good, but it even it is having some disadvantages. What are the disadvantages? Like as it is started 10 years back only, it is started. It is having less community compared to Java and then C. It is having less community. So if you are working on any issue, you will get less community for that. Okay. And next, uh, hiring also. So developer has to move from Java to Kotlin. It takes some time. So there will be less developer compared to Java and then other language. You will get a less developers for Kotlin. And then I told you that because of its very less coding in Kotlin, compilation speed is fast, but when it comes to clean the build, so when we have in Android Studio also, in Android Studio we have a build option. So if we build and then clean build means it removes the unwanted files, everything, then it's build. So if you do this one with the Kotlin, it takes too much time compared to Java. This is one disadvantage of Kotlin. And another one thing is that Google didn't stop supporting Java. Why? Because Kotlin Kotlin internally uses the Java library. So we can't ignore the Java also. Okay. So that's it from my end, guys. So do you have any question? So I'm done with my PPT. So I'll just share my PPT with you here from Google Meeting. If you want, you can go through that. In chat section, I'm sharing actually. One, uh, okay, 1 minute. I'm trying to share this one. Here, I'm
Participants,
not getting any sharing option. Here, I'm not getting
ma'am,
any sharing option.
ma'am, you send to
Hello.
us, ma'am. Kavya, ma'am, you send to us,
Okay,
and we will share the PPT, ma'am.
I'll send to Leela.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, I'll send to this latest PPT with you so that you can share with that participants so they can get to know
Okay,
by that PPT. So it will be easy for them to understand.
thanks. Friends,
Thank you,
do
sir.
you have any questions to ask Kavya, ma'am? Ma'am, there is one question in chat box. In Java
Uh,
println method from print screen class, is
uh,
this same for Kotlin? Or in Kotlin, all the packages are same as Java?
1 minute. In Java, println is method from print string class. This is same for yeah. Internally, it uses the Java code only. It's a Java code only actually. Okay. It points to print system.print out.ln only internally. Okay, I'll show you that. Shall I share my screen? 1 minute. I'll show you that.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You can.
Yeah. See here. So I have done the println. So internally it uses the Java code, that is system.out.println. So when you click this println, it goes to print stream only, print stream class. As I said, no, Kotlin internally uses a Java code only.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, you got it right? What the answer
Yes,
is?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I hope all the participants may understand this now.
Hopefully, I thought you got aware of what is Kotlin and then how to set up with my session. I think so.
Ma'am, that you already covered. Participants, if we can share this video in YouTube soon, so you can refer it from there. Okay. So let us conclude this morning first session. Uh, uh, on behalf of Valorla College of Engineering and Technology, I would like to thank Ms. D.H. Kavya ma'am, Senior Software Engineer, L&T Technology Services, Bangalore. Ma'am, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your support and presentation.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your
Thank you,
patience.
ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Participants, you can continue the same session for your next session that can be handled by Ms. Leela.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
Amin
Thank
Priya,
you.
you
I'll
can
share
carry
you.
on.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank
Let me
you.
now introduce the speaker of our second session, Mrs. V. Leela, ma'am. She has completed an undergraduate in BTech and postgraduate in ME Computer Science and Engineering in Vellalan College of Engineering and Technology, Erode. She has 9 years of experience in teaching at the Vellalan College of Engineering and Technology. She has presented papers in 5 international conferences and 8 national conferences. Moreover, she has published 10 papers in the journal. With the highest level of esteem, I welcome Mrs. V. Leela, ma'am, to take over the session on Kotlin Flow Control. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Leela, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. You can continue.
Yes, ma'am. Is my screen visible to you, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So, pleasant afternoon to all. First of all, I thank the management and my department for giving me this opportunity. So, I'm going to discuss about Kotlin flow control statements. So generally, the source files, the statements within our source files will be executed in the order they appear, right? But by using this flow control statements, we can change the order of execution. Okay, like decision making, looping, and branching statements. We can make changes in your order of execution, right? And these are the statements available in our Kotlin, right? If, when, for loop, while loop, break, and continue. Okay, so these are the statements which are used to make changes in your flow control. Okay, so now I introduce if statement. So this if statement is similar to our Java and other programming languages. So it allows you to specify the block of code that can be executed only when the condition is true. Right? So the syntax of your if statement is same as with your other languages. Right? Consider here I'm taking the here I'm considering an input as a number which is 34, and I'm checking whether this number is even or odd. Okay, so I'm just giving only a single condition. Okay, I'm checking if your n modulus 2 is equal to 0, then you have to print it as even. Okay, I'm using only the if part. Okay, I'm not using else part. So if this condition is true, then your statement will be executed. Right? And you can also represent this with the help of this another way also. Okay, if you are using a single statement within your block of if, then no need of this curly braces. You can directly mention it. Okay, there is a use of your if statement. Okay, so we can specify the block of code within your if, and it can be executed only when your condition is true.
Ma'am, why are we using dollar symbol here?
Now, for printing your numbers, integer numbers, we have to use this dollar symbol.
Dollar symbol. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
If it is a string, then you can directly give your variable name for printing it.
Okay.
But if it is a number, then you have to use the dollar symbol.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Okay, and you already know about this variable VAR and VAL, isn't
Yes,
it?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. If you are using VAR, then it can be mutable, and if you are using VAL, that is immutable.
Mutable. Yes.
Thank you. And we can also use if-else statement here. And here, if your condition is true, then your if part will be executed. Otherwise, it will go for your else part, right? So here I am checking whether given, I'm comparing two numbers and I'm going to print which one is the maximum. So for variable A, I'm assigning 32, and for B, yeah, I'm assigning 55, and I'm checking this condition whether A is greater than B. So if it is true, then this println statement will be taken place. Otherwise, it will go for your else part. Okay, so your 32 is less than 55. So your condition is true. Sorry, your condition is false. So it goes to else part and it prints this statement. So it's the same as your programming language, like a Java, C, C++. And a simple variation is you can use your if as an expression. Okay, so in generally in other programming languages we are using this if and other thing as a statement. Okay, but we can use this if as an expression in our Kotlin. Okay, so what is the difference between expression and statement is expression can be of any part of your statement, okay, which is a combination of your operators, variables, functions like that. Okay, but it can be evaluated and it give you a result. Okay, but statement is just an action, right? And it won't return any value. So in your Kotlin, we can use this if as an expression. So it will return a value. After the evaluation, it will return a value. Okay, this is a simple variation in your Kotlin. And whenever you are using a if as an expression, then your else part is mandatory, right? So this is an example. So I'm assigning your value -10 for your number, and I'm checking whether this number is greater than 0. If it is greater than 0, I'm returning it as positive number. Otherwise, I'm returning it as a negative number. And this is how we have to use your expression. And this is how. So this value will be returned to your variable result, right? So if your number is greater than 0, it returns positive number. Otherwise, it returns negative number. So that result will be stored in this result variable. Then you can able to print that result using this println statement, right? So this is how we are using this if as an expression. Okay, so when you are using if as an expression, then your else part must be compulsory, and it can return a value, okay, from your block. Okay, and that value will be assigned as a expression value, okay, for that variable. And here is another example which also shows you how to use this if as an expression. Okay, and what is the difference between the first example and the second one is, here within your if we are representing number of statements. Okay, in your previous example, I'm using only a single statement, right? And this will be returned as a result. Okay, but if you are having more number of statements within a block, then what will be the result for that particular expression? Okay, so when we are using more number of statements within a single block, then the last statement, okay, our last expression will act as a result for your expression, overall expression. Okay, that is the difference. Okay, you can have a single expression within your block, or you can have number of expressions as statements Okay, if it is a case, if you're having a more number of statements within your if block, then the last statement or expression will act as a result for this particular expression. Okay, so that will be assigned to this variable. Okay, so here the same thing, I'm checking the latest of two numbers, but we are using more number of statements within my if and else block. Okay, so if it is a case, first we are checking this condition, A is greater than B, so the condition is true. So first it prints A is greater than B and max is A. After that, it returns this value of A as a result to this expression. So your max is assigned with A. So after that, I am printing this statement max. So your max is 5 will be printed. Okay, just I execute this in my compiler. So normally we are using IntelliJ IDE for executing this standalone applications. Due to some technical issues with my system, I'm unable to run with this IntelliJ IDEA. So I'm using some online compiler for running this. So sorry for the inconvenience. You can use this IntelliJ IDEA for running this standalone Kotlin applications. So I'm running this and I got this output like this. Okay, so my if condition is true. So that the statements within this if is executed and the last statement is written as a result for this expression. So that is stored in the variable max. Okay, and finally I'm printing that max variable here. Okay, so the value of this 5 is A is assigned to max. So it prints the value as 5. If I'm changing the input value, so your else part will be executed. So its values assigned here. So 13 is value of B is 13. So that is printed here. And if you are omitting this else part, you will get an error, right? So if you are using if as an expression, then your else part is mandatory. If you are omitting that else part, you will get an error, right? Like this. You must have else part. Okay. So your next one is you can execute this else if also. Okay, with the help of this Kotlin. So this is an example. Okay, we are using if else if. Okay, more number of conditions. You can give more number of conditions with if statement. Okay, if else if later. Okay, if your guess value is equal to 0, then it prints no guess. Otherwise, it will check with your next option. If your if condition is false, it will check with your next option. So that's less than 20 means it prints a small group of people. And you can also embed some more conditions here. And finally, it ends with an else part. Okay, here in else part, we are printing just a large group of people. Okay, so in this case, both your if and else if is false, so it goes to else. So it prints large group of people. And a nested if is also possible with your Kotlin, like other programming languages. Okay, here I'm considering the greatest of three numbers, and here I'm using if as an expression. Okay, so in your first stage, we are comparing first two numbers. Okay, and if it is true, I'm checking the first number with the third one. If it is true, we can return this n1 as a largest number. Okay, result of this n1 will be stored in maths. Otherwise, we are returning n3 as the largest one. And if this condition is false, then it will enter into else part. Okay, and here we are checking n2 is greater than n3. Right? So if it is the case, then n2 will be the largest number. Otherwise, we will return n3 as the largest one. Okay, so the result will be stored in the marks. Okay, so finally I'm printing which is the maximum one. Okay, here comparing these three, here 5 is maximum. So I'm printing as 5. And we can use the concept of range in if-else statements. Okay, so we can give like this. So this is a range. Okay, this is represented with your start and end point. Within the you have to do this range operator. And there is no spaces around this range operator. Okay, that is not allowed here. So I'm assigning the value of 50 to number of students, and I'm checking this number of students is within that range, 1 to 100. Okay, so if my value is within that range, then your condition will be true and it will execute your if block. So that's all about your if statements. So do you have any queries regarding this if? Do you have any doubts?
Leela ma'am,
Yes,
we
ma'am.
can have the question and answer session at the end of
Okay,
it.
okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you. So next I'm moving to when. Okay, so like if we can also use when as a expression as well as a statement. Okay, both the things are allowed. Okay, if and when are used as both expression as well as a statement. Okay, here I'm first considering the when as a statement. Okay, so normally we saw the switch cases in Java and other programming languages. So this when is equivalent to a switch in other programming languages, right? So within your when concept, I'm giving a variable. So this when defines your conditional expression with number of multiple branches, right? You can have any number of branches with your when. And finally, it ends with else. Okay, in your switch, it ends with a default. Okay, in case of when, we are using this else as a default. And these are the different cases. Okay, and these can be a conditional parts also. Okay, so these are the different branches. Okay, so this we can have a constant or we can have a conditions also in your case. Okay, different branch conditions. Okay, so this when matches your argument with all the cases sequentially until a match is formed, right? So for a match form, it will execute that particular branch statements. Okay, otherwise it will move to your else part. Okay, if no match is formed. So here I'm passing this day of week as 4. So when passing this day of week as a variable here, so this when searches with your cases sequentially. Okay, so first it check with this case 1 and next case 2, case 3, and finally it matches with this case 4. So it executes this println Thursday. Okay, so it prints the value of Thursday here. Right, so if none of the cases match with your when expression, then it will move to your else part. So this is say you are working out this when is same as with your switch statement. And we can combine the common behavior of a number of cases with a single statement. Okay, so this is an advantage with your when, right? So here I'm combining the first 5 statements with a single println statement, right? So by using this comma separated, we can combine the number of multiple branches with a single statement, right? So this is the use of this combining multiple when branches into one. Okay, you can give like this. Okay, this to represent the common behavior of a number of branches or conditions, we can represent like this. Okay, so if your day of the week belongs to 1 to 5, then it prints weekday. Okay, otherwise it prints weekend. Okay, 6 to, if it belongs to 6 or 7, it prints weekend. Otherwise it prints invalid day. So here your input is 6, so it matches your second one. So it prints weekend. Okay, so your output will be weekend. Okay, just I'm running this with my IDE. So it prints weekend as a output. Okay, if I'm changing this variable value, it prints as a invalid day. So this is how you can combine the multiple branches into a single statement. And we can also use this range concept and when statement also. Okay, like our if statement. So I am passing some result value. Okay, so if your result value is 0, then it prints no results. And if it belongs to 1 to 39, I'm printing as got results. Otherwise, I'm printing as it's a lot of results. Okay, so this is how we can use a range function within your when. And next concept is when as an expression, right? So as I already told you, you can use a if as well as when as an expression. So it can return a value, okay, for that particular expression. So for the same concept, I'm using this when as an expression. So it returns a value, so that can be cast by a variable, day of week string. Okay. So in the previous example, we just print the value of Monday here, Monday in the statement itself. But here I'm returning only the value Monday. Okay. So whenever I'm executing this, the corresponding case value will be returned as a result, right? So if your day of week is 4, then your case 4 will be masked. So it returns Thursday as a result of this expression. So that is assigned to day of weekend string. Okay. And at the end, if you are printing this day of week string, it prints as Thursday. And here we can use your when as a replacement for if else. Okay, we can have with the help of if concept, we can have a number of conditions we can execute. So this can be replaced by your when statement. Okay, so when we are not passing any argument to your when, then these branch statements will be executed. Okay, so these branch statements will be your Boolean expressions, and it will be evaluated, and whichever is true, that block of statements will be executed. Okay, here I am assigning your number equal to 20 and I am not passing any expression to this when. So this expressions or the Boolean expressions will be evaluated, okay, for each of your statement, and which one is true, that block will be executed. Okay, here your number is less than 0, this condition is false, so I am not moving with this. And when you are doing this number mod to equal to 0, so I'm checking this, so I'm printing this number as even. Okay, and this condition is false, so number greater than 100, this is false, and we are not going to else part also. Okay, so if any one of this condition is true, that branch statements will be executed. Otherwise, it moves to your else part. So whenever we are using a when or and other if as an expression, your else part is necessary, right? But if you are using your when and other thing as if as a statement, then else is not compulsory. So I'm running here. So it prints 20 is even. So that condition is true. So it prints 20 is even. So if I change the input value, so here itself your condition is met. So it executes the number as even. So even though this number is greater than 100 also true, but your first condition, okay, whichever is true, that block will be executed. So if I'm doing this 0, that will be printed as even. So I'm giving a negative value. So it prints minus 10 is less than 0. I'm doing 99. So it excludes none of the above. So that's all about your when. So you can use your when as a statement as well as expression. And next thing is the for loops. Okay, so in Kotlin there is no traditional for loop as with your Java and other languages, right? Here we can use your for loop to iterate anything that will give you an iterator. Okay, just for example, you can use your range maps or arrays. Okay, for like that you can use any of these as a iterator. Okay, because those will give you an iterator. So you can use those things for doing iterations in for loop. Okay, for example, I am taking this array in your array. So this array is created with the help of this array of, right? So you have your this O should be in caps. Okay, for creating array in Kotlin, right? So this array will be assigned to the variable. So this array will be assigned to your variable pets, right? So your index starts from 0 as with the other languages, right? And I'm using this iterated variable element, okay, and which is, and you have to use this in, okay, in operator for checking this, okay, whether this element is a part of your array, right? And pets, okay, we are giving this pets. This is your syntax, okay. You have to give a iterated variable, and then you have to give this in, and you have to give your collection, right? So if I'm printing this element, then it prints the values one by one sequentially. Okay, starts with the index 0. And here we don't want to define your iterator, and you don't want to increment every time. So that's an advantage of for in your Kotlin. Okay, so you can iterate through an iterator. So whatever thing you can iterate, which provides you an iterator. Okay, that can be done with your for. Okay, you can use your array range, or you can use a string. Okay, and you can use maps like that for iteration with the help of for. And here this example shows you how to print the index. Okay, you can use this with index concept. Okay, with index function to print the index of that element of a particular array. Okay, here I am taking this index and element. Okay, I am going to print both the things. Okay, so index comma element in pets dot with index. So pets is nothing but an array name. Okay, and in that array name, I'm using this index. Okay, I'm getting a index of every data stored in my index, in my array. Okay, pets. So if you are using this with index, then you can able to get the index value. Okay, in the previous thing, just we are printing the elements in your array. So here you can use the concept of with index to print the value of index of that element also. So I'm printing both the index and as well as element. Okay, so your output shows like this item. So your first will be your data will be dog. So that is stored in the index 0 and cat and canary. So just I'm running this. This is my array. So I'm just printing this. So both the things will be printed here. Both your index as well as your data will be printed like this. So if you're using just only the element, it just prints only the data. Okay, so what are the elements stored in your array? So we can also use the string. So it iterates. So I'm giving this hello as a string. So it iterates one by one. HELL. And we can also use this range and step size concept in for loop. Right? So for I in 1 to 5. Okay, so it takes the values starting from 1 to 5, it prints all the result, right? So for I in 1 to 5, your output will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, up to your last limit. And you can also reverse the operation, right? I in 5 down to 1. Okay, from 5 to 1, you can print like this, down to 1. Okay, you should not give 5 and range operator 1. It won't print. If you are giving this down to operator, then it will print the values from 5 to 1. And you can also use the step concept. Okay, so I already told you, so it your iterator access your elements in your collection sequentially. So this moves your steps. Okay, we can use move forward. Okay, 2 steps. Okay, with the help of this step concept. Okay, if you are giving step 2, then first it prints 3, then it moves 2 steps. Okay, at the so it won't print 4. So next one is 5. Okay, and we are giving this limit as 6, so we are crossing only 1 step. So it prints, so it doesn't print 6. Okay, you can step through different sizes. You can give any 4 or 5, anything like that. You can give as a step size. And not only the integers, you can also give this characters. Okay, for using this in concept. Okay, for from D to G means it prints also D, E, F, G. Okay, so these are the uses of for loop. Next, I'm moving with the while loop. So this while and do while are same as with your Java and other programming languages. The working will be same. So you can repeat the block of statements until your condition is true. Right? So while is an entry control point. So first your condition will be checked. Okay, only if your condition is true, then it will allow you to execute your block of statements. Otherwise, it won't. Okay, so here I am using this variable bicycle is equal to 0. Okay, I am assigning the 0, and I'm checking whether my bicycle is less than 50. Okay, so if it is less than 50, then it executes this body of the statement. Okay, bicycles plus plus. Okay, so it is an increment statement. So your value will be incremented, and again it will be checked with your condition. So this will prolong until your condition gets failure. Okay, so when your bicycle value becomes 49, its condition is true. So it will be executed. So now its bicycle value is 50. So when we are moving with this condition, 50 is less than 50, so condition is false. Okay. So when I'm printing this bicycle's value, so it prints 50. Okay, so 50 bicycles in the bicycle rack. Okay, so yeah, this working is same as with your other languages. Okay, it is an entry control, right? So first it will check the condition, and if the condition is true, then it allows you to execute the body of the statements. Otherwise, it will restrict. And next one is the do while. So do while is exit control. So it executes the body of the statement only once without checking your condition, right? So it allows you to execute the first time, okay, without checking the condition. So at the end only you can check the condition. So if the condition is true, then it will execute the body of the statement again. Otherwise, it will come out of the loop. Okay, so initially I'm assigning bicycle values 50. So my condition is my bicycle value should be greater than 50. Okay, but without checking the condition during your first time, it allows you to reduce the bicycle value, right? So decrement operator, so it reduces your bicycle value. And here now I'm checking, okay, your bicycle values 49, which is greater than 50, so condition false. Okay, so it will come out of this loop. Okay, and when we are printing this, we are bought 49 bicycles or in the bicycle rack will be printed. So when I'm running this, it means 50 bicycles are in the bicycle rack. Okay, so until your condition is true, your body of the statement will be executed, and when your condition gets failure, then it will come out of the loop. So when we are running this do while, so it prints 49 bicycles are in the bicycle rack as a output. So if I'm giving my input value as 40, so it prints only the, one time your bicycle value will be decremented. So it prints 39 bicycles are in the rack. So if I'm giving the value as greater than 50, so your value will be decremented up to 50, right? So your 50 bicycles are in the bicycle rack. So that's all about your while and do while. And you're having another looping concept called repeat. Okay, so this repeat is the work of repeat is same as with your loop, so it can execute the number of times the same set of statements. Okay, you have to mention the number of times you have to repeat that particular block, right? So within your repeat. Okay, so if you are giving this number of times, then it will execute your statements within that block that much number of time. Okay, that's the use of a repeat concept in Kotlin. Okay, you can your repeat can be used as a loop, right? So you can execute the number of statements with a specified number of times. So the next concept is break. So you already know about this break. Okay, so when you want to break the loop, okay, you can use the concept of break here. Okay, when you want to come out of your loop, okay, without completing all the tasks, we can use the concept of break here. Okay, so I'm using this for loop. Okay, here I'm checking if your number is between 1 to 100. Okay, and I'm checking whether I'm going to find a number which is divisible by both 3 and 5. Okay, so this condition is met. Okay, I will break that loop. Okay, otherwise I will repeat the next iteration. So I'm finding only the first number which is divisible by both 3 and 5. So when my input is 1, your condition is false. So your next value will be processed. For 2 also it is not possible. For 3 also, for your first condition only true and not only the second one. So I'm moving to your 4 and your 5. That's also not possible. So when you are reaching this 15, we can divide the number by both 3 and 5. Okay, so up to that I'm going to process, and then I have to come out of that loop. Okay, I'm not going to process the remaining numbers. Okay, I just break out that loop break out the working of the loop. So it shows you the first positive number divisible by both 3 and 5 is 15. And if we change the value, so based on your range, your value will be given. Output value will be given. Okay, so it identifies only the first number which is divisible by both 3 and 5. Okay, then it will come out of your loop. And it won't proceed your next remaining values. And your last thing is continue. Okay, so when you want to skip your current iteration and you want to proceed with your next one, we can use this continue statement, right? So just see here, I'm giving the number range from 1 to 10 and I'm dividing. If my number is divisible by 2, then I'm going to proceed. Okay, otherwise I have to print the number. Okay, so first when we are having a 1, so which is not divisible by 2, so it prints the value here, right? And here we can use this curly braces for printing, or without curly braces also you can print the value. Okay, it prints this. And when we are having a value of 2, so it will be equal to 0. So I'm not going to continue this current iteration. So I'm going to move with my next one. Okay, so I'm not printing the value of 2 here, right? So I'm going to skip my current iteration and I'm going to move with the next iteration, right? So when we are having a value of 3, which is not divisible by 2, so it prints here, and 4, which is divisible by 2, so I'm not printing here. I'm moving with the next iteration. So like that, up to 10, it will execute your results. And that's all about the flow control statements in your Kotlin. And if you have any queries, you can ask now.
Participants, do you have any queries? So you
Excuse
can
me,
ask. Yes,
ma'am, good afternoon.
good afternoon.
Ma'am, in the last program, you wrote the variable num inside the curly brackets.
Yeah.
Is
Yes.
it compulsory, or we can write direct $num?
Yeah, it's you can use your curly braces, or it is not necessary.
Okay, thank you.
So someone is asking what is the difference between print num and dollar num. So with the help of curly braces, you can also print the num. So there's no difference. Okay, you can print both. You can have a same output for both the things.
Friends, attendance and feedback link will be posted in chat box later.
And your for is traditional for is not available with the Kotlin. We can able to iterate only through this iterator concepts. Okay, we can able to iterate through collections. And we can also use header files available in Java in Kotlin also. And so is need indentation for writing Kotlin program like Python. We don't want any indentation for writing Kotlin programs. We can give it as it is. No need of any indentation like Python.
Ma'am, there is some question. Can we have a switch case?
No, instead of switch, we are using this bin.
Okay, ma'am. Participants, let us take this, come to this end of this session. So let us meet at 2 p.m. for the next session. So now I want to thank our Leela ma'am for this wonderful session. Leela ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, ma'am, shall I close this session?
Yes, ma'am.
Participants, attendance and feedback link will be shared you soon. So the meet attendance is also taken.
Ma'am,
Yes. Yes.
ma'am, attendance link for first session, can you share once again, ma'am, because we missed it.
Okay, sir. No problem. We will share both the links, sir. For both the session
Okay,
link,
okay,
we will
thank you.
share. And as well as we are taking that attendance through this meet, sir. So participants, you can join in this meet, and as well as you should post your attendance in the Google form. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So let us have the next session. This third session of this day is at 2 p.m. So kindly join at 2 p.m. because any other questions or feedback?
Ma'am, attendance link through WhatsApp group or they same in the Google Meet, ma'am? Either we want to wait any.
Sir, in the next session,
Okay,
will
next
post,
session
sir.
you post
Yes,
that link, right? Thank you.
Please post the attendance link in the WhatsApp link.
Okay, sir.
Chat box.
That is have some problems, sir. So, but we will try it, sir.
Chat box is not seen in the mobile. That's I'm looking.
Okay, sir. Okay, if you are, but we can take that meet attendance also, sir. So that no problem, and we will share it, sir.
Share in the WhatsApp link. Yes.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.